The conversation may not be a popular one, but ranking a once-in-a-lifetime draft phenom like Swedish defenseman Rasmus Dahlin behind anybody requires one heck of an in-depth analysis beyond what that ever-present eye test keeps telling us. Sure, Dahlin comes across as the Allen Iverson of NHL draft prospects, an ankle-breaking machine with the kind of devastating directional changes that are usually reserved for practice and pickup games. The thing is, when you watch Russian power winger Andrei Svechnikov, you see the exact same thing. For whatever reason, the casual fan is far more familiar with Dahlin than Svechnikov. It makes sense, especially since it seems like every feat Svechnikov accomplished during his amateur career was either ignored or immediately drowned out by what felt like an endless loop of the 7 or 8 highlight clips of Dahlin dipsy-doodling his way toward the net. The truth is, Svechnikov's NHL potential should be considered just as unlimited as his Swedish counterpart. NHL Draft 2018, SN's Mock 2.0, Prospect Rankings League Dominance. While Dahlin was being faded in the press, Svechnikov was scorching through a historical season not seen in well over 2 decades and still flew under the radar. For starters, he was the first player in history to win the USHL and AHL Rookie of the Year awards in consecutive seasons. Granted, not many players jump from one league to the other, but an impressive feat nonetheless. According to Prospect-Stats.com, Svechnikov also had the highest estimated goals per 60 minutes of any Canadian Hockey League draft prospect between 1998 and 2018. Although these are estimates, as the leagues do not post official time-on-ice statistics, his numbers at even strength for a pre-draft power forward are impressive nonetheless. With 30 even-strength goals in just 44 games, 2.71 e.g. 60, Svechnikov in his draft year filled the net at a higher clip than Sidney Crosby, 2.60, Patrick Kane, 2.55, and Connor McDavid, 2.34. Additionally, Svechnikov's 5v5 goals per game average of 0.68 was the highest in at least 2 decades of any Ontario Hockey League player in his first draft year. That means neither McDavid, nor Kane, nor Taylor Hall, nor Steven Stamkos, nor John Tavares buried the puck at a greater clip than Svechnikov. Dahlin also had a historic season as a pre-draft teenager in Sweden's top league, scoring 20 points in 41 games to surpass Tomas Johnson's 40-year mark among under-18 defensemen. He simply was too good for the junior level and by season's end was one of Frölunda's better defensemen. At his best, Dahlin is a minute-eating puck mover who works feverishly to keep the ice tilted toward the opposition. He does this with superior foot speed, puck control and vision, and all three allow him to exploit the tiniest of gaps in the other team's coverage. More, Rasmus Dahlin can change conversation on D-men drafted number 1. Still, it's unfair to compare him to Bobby Orr. Dahlin is a unique specimen who still needs to round out the defensive part of his game. The comparison to his fellow countryman, and NHL Hall of Famer, Nicholas Lidstrom may have more to do with the fact that they are both Swedish rather than one being a stylistic carbon copy of the other. True, they share similarities in terms of puck possession and decision-making, but the significant gap in their defensive zone play is just one example that renders the comparison baseless, especially when you consider how Lidstrom's one-on-one defense as a teenager stood out more than his playmaking or speed. 2 examples where Dahlin struggles with pressure can be found in Sweden's loss to Canada at the World Juniors and Frölunda's opening round loss to Malmö in 6 games. The biggest difference between Lidstrom and Dahlin is that, unlike Dahlin, Lidstrom mastered the art of avoiding physical contact by releasing the puck with accuracy at the exact moment a forechecker was committing toward him. Dahlin eventually should learn how to do this, but he's proven to struggle under a physical forecheck, and turnovers and chances against were quite frequent during Dahlin's sophomore SHL season. There appears to be an opinion that Dahlin possibly was the best defenseman in Sweden's SHL. Top rookie defenseman? Absolutely. But to say Dahlin had the best wire-to-wire season of any SHL rearguard requires an airtight case to back it up. For starters, Dahlin was not named a finalist for the league's Top Defenseman award. Second, his participation in the Under-20 World Junior Championship and the Olympics cost him 11 games, which is more than one-fifth of the SHL regular season. More, best no. 1 and 2 overall draft duos in NHL Draft history. International dominance. For whatever reason, critics of Svechnikov point to his production at this year's Under-20 World Junior Championship as one of the reasons why he should be considered a notch below Dahlin. However, Svechnikov in limited minutes as a fourth-liner for Russia managed 5 assists, 4 primary, in 5 games for a mind-numbing 5.40 points per 60 minutes average. Considering he's dominated older teenagers at half a dozen other tournaments, in addition to the 16 to 21 age brackets in both the USHL and OL, there's absolutely no reason to believe an increase in ice time would not have vaulted Svechnikov in the running for yet another international tournament scoring title. Svechnikov led 2 significant competitions in scoring in his 16-year-old season, the World Under-17 Hockey Challenge and the Under-19 World Junior A Challenge. He also led all non-draft eligibles in scoring as a 16-year-old at the IIHF Under-18 World Championship in 2017. The only other tournament in this pre-draft season that he appeared in besides the Under-20 World Juniors was the Under-18 Five Nations Tournament, where he tied fellow 2018 draft prospect Oliver Wahlstrom for the most points with 8 in 4 games. Dominating the international circuit in front of the NHL scouting community is part of what makes that generational player earn their pre-draft praise, and Svechnikov's play in these tournaments continue to get overlooked. More, best draft class. For every NHL team expected awards, practically all elite NHL forwards can be found at the top of their draft class. This isn't always the case with defensemen. There have been 13 defensemen out of the maximum 30 possible finalists for the last 10 Norris trophies, 2008 to 2018. Of those 13, 9 were drafted outside the top 10 of the first round and only 2, Victor Hedman and Drew Doughty, were one of the first 5 picks in their respective draft. Player drafted Norris finalist 2008-18, Zdeno Chara 3rd round, 56th overall, 5 times Drew Doughty 1st round, 2nd overall, 4 times Erik Karlsson 1st round, 15th overall, 4 times Nicklas Lidstrom 3rd round, 53rd overall, 3 times PK Subban 2nd round, 43rd overall, 3 times Shea Weber 2nd round, 49th overall, 3 times Brent Burns 1st round, 20th overall, 2 times Duncan Keith 2nd round, 54th overall, 2 times Mike Green 1st round, 29th overall, 2 times Victor Hedman 1st round, 2nd overall, 2 times Dion Phaneuf 1st round, 9th overall, 1 time Chris Letang 3rd round, 62nd overall, 1 time Ryan Suter 1st round, 7th overall, 1 time. Conversely, the significant majority of all of the top vote getters for the last 10 years worth of Hart Trophy nominations were given to skaters drafted within the first 3 picks of their respective draft year. Player drafted Hart finalist 2008-18, Sidney Crosby 1st overall 5 times, Alex Ovechkin 1st overall 5 times, Evgeny Malkin 1st round, 2nd overall, 3 times, John Tavares 1st overall 2 times, Connor McDavid 1st overall 1 time, Nathan MacKinnon 1st overall 1 time, Taylor Hall 1st overall 1 time, Steven Stamkos 1st overall 1 time, Patrick Kane first overall, one-time Daniel Sedin first round, second overall, one-time Corey Perry first round, 28th overall, one-time Andrei Kopitar first round, 11th overall, one-time Jamie Benn 5th round, 129th overall, one-time Ryan Getzlaf first round, 19th overall, one-time Claude Giroux first round, 22nd overall, one-time Martin Street, Louis UDFA, one-time Henrik Sedin first round, 3rd overall, one-time Pavel Datsyuk 6th round, 171st overall, one-time Jerome McGinley first round, 11th overall, one-time. The same applies for the league's top 10 goal scorers this season. Rank player goals drafted: 1 Alex Ovechkin 49 first overall, 2 Patrick Leon 44 first round, 2nd overall, 3 William Karlsson 43 second round, 53rd overall, T4 Evgeny Malkin 42 first round, 2nd overall, T4 Eric Stahl 42 first round, 2nd overall, 6 Connor McDavid 41 first overall, T7 Anders Lee 46th round, 152nd overall, T7 Tyler Seguin 41st round, 2nd overall, T9 Taylor Hall 39 first overall, T9 Nikita Kucherov 39 second round, 58th overall, T9 Nathan MacKinnon 39 first overall. As you can see, a strong case can be made that Svechnikov eventually will become one of league's dominant forwards, especially when using postseason award recognition and placement among the top scorers as the two critical barometers. While Dahlin has done more than enough to earn the distinction as the best defenseman eligible for the draft since Dennis Potvin over 40 years ago, the gap in talent between this year's two best draft prospects does not exist. We are witnessing the beginning of what should be star-studded NHL careers that will make their pre-draft rankings and eventual selections nothing more than formalities. Steve Kornianos is the founder of TheDraftAnalyst.com, a blog dedicated to the NHL Draft. He is a former prospect writer for ESPN.com and worked briefly for the Associated Press and McKeen's Hockey. He also covered the Boston Bruins, the All and Hockey East for SportsTicker, and was a minor league baseball editor for House Sports Data.